Welcome back to the Backwards History Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Will, here with my co-host, Kevin. Say hi, Kevin.
Hi, Kevin.
Shut up, Kevin.
Or what?
I don't know. I'm caught a little off guard by that question. But this week's episode, we're going to get into what we like to call buyer beware.
Dun, dun, dun.
Considering this is the last couple weeks before Christmas and people are having to snap up those last-minute gifts.
Oh, yeah.
And there are easy options that seem like really nice options that may not be very good for you and your family.
Very affordable options, too.
Right. It's a common thing in the Christmas season to see new tech and all this stuff that, the prices have dropped on it and da-da-da. And now we've got smart TVs, smart watches,
smart tables,
home assistants, all kinds of stuff. Mm-hmm. And something that we never, ever do. And I'm guilty of this, just like anybody else. And I'm in the tech field, so I should know better. But no one's got time to read 50 pages of a user agreement before clicking OK.
No. And even if they did, who's actually going to do it?
You would be surprised at some of the stuff you're agreeing to in those user agreements. And some of them are funny, but some of them are scary.
Yeah.
Like, I think one of the terms of use for using Amazon is it deals with the zombie apocalypse. In the event of a zombie apocalypse, X applies. That's actually in a legal binding document with Amazon.
That millions of people click yes to.
Right. Something that I see getting pushed a lot by Amazon is their Alexa products, their Dots, their Echoes, their
home assistants.
Right. You're putting a microphone in your home.
Mm-hmm.
You're giving them, which has already come out in the news, that they employ people that do nothing but sit around and listening to what your devices are recording of you.
Oh.
They employ thousands of people, but that's all they do for 8 hours a day.
And you gotta think, if they're paying people to do that, what are they getting out of it?
They are selling your information to the highest bidder
that you willingly give away.
Right. And I love technology. I absolutely love what it's capable of. But I know what else it's capable of and the potential abuses by government or corporations or other individuals that might...
highest bidder.
Right. Well, to quote superhero movies, if it were to fall into the wrong hands, air quotes.
Air quotes all the way.
It could be very dangerous.
It could. What's in Captain America Civil War? He's like, the 21st century is a digital book.
Right.
And Dr. Zemo or whatever.
Arnim Zola.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
He showed us how to read it.
Right. And then you've got The Dark Knight. I think it's it wasn't Dark Knight, right? Yeah, I think it was just Dark Knight. It was the one with the Joker, where Lucius Fox gets shown by Bruce Wayne the basically like cell phone sonar that he's built, where it pings every cell phone. And he said that's too much for any one man to control. Blah blah blah.
Right.
That's kind of real. Maybe not as graphically pleasing or visually pleasing as that setup was, but that's real stuff. Like, people can access your phone cameras. Mm-hmm. You've got one on each side of the phone. That's almost a 360-degree view of whatever you're doing.
And recording.
I mean, 90% of the time they're going to see me sitting on the can reading articles on the internet, but still.
What could they possibly use with that information?
Right, but the general consensus is, well, I've got nothing to hide, so I'm not afraid of anything, which I find very ironic.
Yeah, a bit.
We're in a society that is outwardly opposed to a Nazi-esque society, and one of the most famous quotations of "If you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear," was none other than Joseph Goebbels, the Nazi propaganda minister during World War II.
Yeah, he's not. He wasn't a good person.
He was not a good guy.
Yeah, but general consensus, most people say, yeah, no, not a good person.
Right. And the one thing that I actually really was looking into getting here from my house was the Ring.
Yeah, the doorbell.
Yeah. The video camera doorbell, and then they also expanded it to have like security cameras and that kind of stuff.
Window sensors.
Right.
Yeah.
And those were really nice.
And very affordable.
Right. Until. They were affordable until you realize what you were giving up.
Right.
Because now they reserve the right to give law enforcement or government agencies or whoever access to your cameras at will.
At will.
Like you're not even given an acknowledgement. Hey, these people are going to be accessing your stuff. Are you cool with this? No, it's they can have it because you clicked OK.
And no probable cause necessary.
Right, you clicked OK, so you gave consent to the invasion of your privacy. Way around the Fourth Amendment, as it were,
A little bit.
Using corporations and backhanded tactics of knowing that you're not going to go through a user agreement, and even if you did, you would need to be a lawyer to even know what's going on because it's written so
complexly,
right, that you're not meant to understand, and it's too inconvenient. And it's so much more inconvenient. Just click OK and go on with it.
And even if you were to sit down and read it all and by some miracle have a law degree and understand it.
Right.
If you choose not to accept it, well, then that's it. You don't
get to use this thing that you or someone else spent money on, if it was a gift.
Right.
You don't get to use it.
Your hands are kind of tied.
It's done.
You have to agree to these terms.
And everything has a user agreement. Everything. It's like there's I'm not sure exactly what company it is, but there's a car navigation system that you basically give them the right to track you wherever you go, which I guess for some of it you have to, because they have to be able to track you with their system to be able to tell where you're going. But they can monitor everything that goes on inside your car through a microphone, and then they can sell that information to law enforcement or other corporations where they can just monitor what goes on in your car. And I found out about that around the same time that I found out that there's an Alexa device for your car now that just sits on your dash.
Is it the auto assistant or something?
That's really creepy.
It is. Like it's with you everywhere, or it has the potential you can take it anywhere.
Like we already have our phones in our pockets, and I'm still suspect of those, even though I've got Hey Siri turned off on my phone.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know who else is around me with all their stuff on. But then by extension, if they're around me, then that's my privacy as well, going out the window because I just let somebody in my house that's got that stuff on. I have nothing to hide.
Oh, no, same here.
But it's a principle thing.
It's about the principalities.
It's very much like our favorite book to reference around here. It's like the telescreens and things like that from 1984.
Oh yeah,
where they're constantly monitoring what you're doing. Not to the extent of the telescreens yet. Well, it kind of is. Because we have facial recognition that's really, really easy for people to put into small cameras now. But in 1984, they monitor whether they're scowling or what have you, their emotions.
Doing their exercises.
Right.
I mean, Facebook, a big trend here recently was the 10-year challenge, What did you look like 10 years ago as compared to today?
Right.
And then all the subsequent memes of, you need to update on these. Oh, I got you.
No problem. for your facial recognition algorithm, you need to see the aging of people. Yeah, you just help them figure out how human faces age that much better.
That much better. And then I remember a few years ago they had that facial recognition thing where you take a picture of yourself and they compare it to famous artwork that you most resemble or something.
Something more recently that woke a few people up from this that normally wouldn't have even thought about it. the thing that would you take your own picture and it would turn you old.
Oh yeah.
And then they found out, oh well, this is giving full access to your phone to some foreign entity.
Yeah, that upset quite a few people.
You think it's just foreign governments doing that?
Yeah, wait till I tell you.
Right. If only you could live in my head. Another thing we wanted to discuss today on the podcast is, I get why people would want to give their children pets for Christmas. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
I personally would have loved to got a puppy for Christmas. That just seems like it would be such a great thing to get for Christmas.
It's like the quintessential Christmas gift, for a young child.
But the problem that I see with giving pets, and that's any kind of pet, that's reptiles, that's dogs, cats,
birds, fish,
anything, turtles. But the problem that I see with it is that people give the gift for the reaction without taking into account the responsibility.
Right.
Whether it be your responsibility as the parent, or if the child is old enough to take the responsibility for the animal and its care, whatever. But too many times, oh no, this puppy is tearing up my house. I gave this kid this puppy, for Christmas, and it's January. You have to go back to work.
Right. Kids have to go back to school.
And now the puppy's tearing up your house while you're gone. Well, yeah, it's a puppy. It's gonna do that.
That's kind of what they do.
Right. So you have to take things like that into account. Or reptiles, it's February and it's dead because no one ever cared for it. They just, oh, well, the goodie's gone. It's now in the aquarium or the terrarium, and we're not right. And pets either end up dying or just getting let loose in the wild. Like Florida has a huge
python.
It's a python problem, and like iguanas and things like that too. Well, yes, they can thrive in the
tropical environment.
They're not meant to be there, so they're disrupting the ecosystem ridiculously.
I mean, there's several shows of people like crazed rednecks going out hunting pythons.
And that's because it's eating the indigenous wildlife almost to extinction in that area, and then it's disrupting the entire ecosystem as a whole. And then you've got municipalities that's humane societies are wildly overpopulated to where they have to euthanize a good bit of animals every year.
Sadly.
Because they keep growing exponentially in the number that they have. And you can't just continually put more and more money into food and stuff. Eventually it's gotta stop.
You gotta have an end somewhere.
Something a little bit more complicated than, normal dogs and cats. Reptiles, PetSmart and things like that carry bearded dragons and turtles and things of that nature. Bearded dragons, I'd never had any experience with them until I met my wife. And then she had, she showed me, videos and pictures of ones that had been mistreated or neglected and things like that. And it was heartbreaking seeing these, what literally looked like shriveled up lizards. Because people would give them as pets and their kids would neglect them and not take care of them. And, same can happen to dogs and cats. If your idea of owning a pet, whether it be a lizard in a terrarium or a dog in the yard or what have you, if your idea is chaining that dog up and just throwing food and water at it, not literally, but if it is literally, it's even worse. But if that's your idea of owning a pet, give that pet to someone else. Don't buy that pet to begin with, because that is just cruel.
Right.
Or if your idea of, owning a lizard is just stick it in the terrarium and give it food and water every now and then and don't do nothing with it, you're not a pet owner. You're just a pet watcher.
That's why I don't own a dog, is because I don't have the time necessary to take care of a dog. And I just can't be one of those people that locks it up in the kennel or chains it up outside or something and just kind of, oh, hey, how's it going, in passing.
Right.
And so that's why I don't have one, even though I would love to have a dog. I just don't.
And I've got 2 dogs, and I definitely do understand that dogs are a lot more complicated to deal with than cats, because cats are very
independent.
Right. But dogs do take a lot more time, and they're a lot less self-motivating.
Right.
And I do there are certain things that I have to take into account. Like if I want to go on vacation, who's going to go feed my dogs? Who's going to go let them out? Whereas you just got to put out a litter box and enough food and water for them for the next couple of days, and you're good.
I got one cat, and he kind of looks at me in passing every couple of days, and we're good.
Right.
Like,
but
oh, what's up?
that was a calculated responsibility on my part when I got dogs. Was I knew what would come with it.
Right, the responsibility.
And I'm okay with that, because the relationship I have with my animals is definitely worth the inconvenience of their care. Which, if you're a true dog or true animal owner, their care is not inconvenience.
Right.
They're a member of your family, just like your children. In my opinion.
Right, I agree with you. It's just, like you said, that calculated responsibility. You thought it out. You just didn't go get a dog.
And the calculated risk of owning a puppy and what it's going to destroy. Because
everything. My
youngest dog, my Chihuahua Peanut, chewed up about $600 worth of electronic cords and things of that nature. Headphones and chargers and yada, yada, yada.
I would not have a dog then.
I was really close. But she's good now. It's a puppy thing.
You gotta, and like with cats, when they're kittens, that first year or year and a half, they're into everything.
But from the parental perspective, if you're going to give a pet, ultimately, it is your responsibility to take care of that animal if your child does not. It is not the animal's fault that your child will not take care of it. You got to. That is a living, breathing thing. Whether it stands upright and speaks English to you, does not matter. That's a living, breathing thing. Or give it to somebody who will.
Right. But just put a little more thought into pets as Christmas presents.
Right. So we've now spent this whole episode talking trash about Christmas gifts.
And what not to give.
Now we want to give you a few suggestions on what to give.
Yes.
And again, just like everything else, this is our opinion. Do what you want. It's your life. But we have opinions.
Okay, yeah. One gift that I find is always well received, gift cards. That's one.
Yeah.
Especially like the Visa ones that you can use in multiple locations. That way they're not tied to like a specific store or restaurant or website or something. It's very much applicable to, what they want to do.
Yeah. And it's not as restricted. While I like cash.
Cash is king.
Right. It's a lot more applicable to be able to use on anything you need or want.
Right.
If it's in a debit card form.
It's a little more restrictive. But it's one where you've shown the thought you put into the gift.
Like, for instance, I wish I could just, if someone asks for a Christmas list for me, I just start writing out, this bill, that bill, another bill. If someone gave me a Visa, I can use that to pay a bill.
Swipe.
Right.
And you're done.
But yeah, that's not a bad suggestion. And one of the Visa gift cards is less restrictive because you don't relegate them to just one store. Because I can't tell you how many times I got annoyed that people would give me, like 3 different people would give me Old Navy gift cards, and I didn't care about Old Navy that much.
I've never bought anything from Old Navy.
Only wanted their hoodies.
Well, yeah.
Their hoodies were comfortable. The fleece hoodies that we used to get in middle school, those were comfortable, but that's all I wanted. And once I had one, I didn't need 3 more.
That's right. I'm good at one.
But when Old Navy was the new and big store, everybody, like, for the next 2 Christmases, gave nothing but those gift cards.
Right. Now, me being the self-professed nerd, I get a lot of gift cards to Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, things like that.
I generally got ones to clothing stores.
Right. I got ones for books and things like that, which I don't mind.
Right.
But just, again, knowing the individual, that can help out a lot. Put a little effort into it.
Yeah, but extended family gets excused because they don't have the opportunity to do it. But this is, I guess, a personal thing. I think a great gift, and you can find them of any price range, was watches.
Oh, absolutely.
Real watches, not not smartwatches, not an Apple Watch.
Right.
Like a real watch. I actually have on a $24 watch. And it's not about the price. I actually asked for this watch specifically last Christmas because this is I'm a bit of a, I think the term is horologist. It's a study of time or timekeeping.
Yeah, sure, why not?
But I actually want to get a mechanical watch.
The craftsmanship involved.
Where it's literally gears running inside, and there are some that have like clear case backs where you can actually watch the movements roll. And you can find those for less than $100. Mm-hmm. Good Seiko models, which is a well-known Japanese brand. Mm-hmm. But watches, there's something about watches that I personally believe that every man and woman should own a watch.
It's very reliable. I personally have a relic, ironically being an archaeologist. But it's battery powered, similar to yours, but it's very nice to have. It goes with, your outfit, but it's practical because I don't have to dig my phone out to see what time it is. I know, it's 12
Right.
o'clock.
I don't want to pull, if I want to look at the time, I want to look at the time. Mm-hmm. Or I want to admire my watch. I can admire my watch without some notification or, well, that was my watch talking about notifications. This is an older digital watch, so it beeped when it turned to a different hour. But notification like that, yeah, whatever. That's timekeeping. But I don't want to look at the time on my watch and get distracted by, Facebook notifications or Twitter or whatever.
Right.
If I want to look at that, I can pull my phone out of my pocket. If I just want to check the time, I can look at my wrist and go on about my business.
Right.
But if I have an Apple Watch on my wrist, I'm looking at everything on my wrist.
You gotta swipe around and
Right. I'm already too connected as it is, carrying a phone in my pocket all the time.
Right.
I don't want, if I want to be able to put my phone away, I don't want to have to, every time I look at my watch, I'm looking at my phone.
Exactly. And I've always had a thing for like antique pocket watches.
I had a pocket watch as a kid.
Like beautiful pieces of art, mechanics, very, very nice looking, very sophisticated, if you will. But just the work and the craftsmanship that goes into making those, timeless, really. Watch timeless. Yeah.
Definitely. And the study of time and the way people, everyone has a very close relationship with time because time is the most valuable thing we have.
Yeah, you can't get it back.
You can never get it back. You can never get more. Mm-hmm. I mean, time is the most valuable thing you have. And that brings me to my next gift suggestion. Mm-hmm. Instead of giving someone an item for Christmas, because items wear out, get lost, or become, they're obsolete. That's a good way to put it. Think about giving someone an experience, a memory for Christmas, and not all memories cost money.
No.
But think of it, give someone a ticket to a concert they really want to go to.
Right.
Or a trip that they really want to go on, or just spend time with someone special in a special way, which can be for free or very, very cheap.
One of the best gifts you can give is your time, as you said,
Right.
If, people see you taking the time to spend with them, well, that's something they'll remember, that's something they'll cherish because, that experience, like you said, you can't really lose that memory, barring some horrible incident, but it's one of those things that'll stay with you.
Right. And that can definitely be more valuable than any item because the item will go away, will fade, or if they're a kid, they may not play with that toy you give them, or they won't play with that toy years down the road. But you take them somewhere, they'll remember that years down the road.
Right.
Give an experience, and similarly related to that, and I guess you could say education, but not necessarily. Books. I think books are still a very viable thing in the digital age.
Oh yeah, I know a lot of people do the digital books,
which is fine. You can give somebody a gift card to Amazon or whatever, to where they can get the downloadable books, and they may be able to get multiple books with a gift card. That's fine.
Right.
That's the same as getting a hardcover.
Yeah, My whole thing though is, I guess I'm old school. I like the feel of the book in my hands.
I personally prefer a physical book.
Yeah, like you said, my whole thing is, I don't care how much something costs. I want to be able to look at a gift and know you thought about me when you got it. Like you really did. Like, hey, that's perfect for Kevin. I think he'll love it.
Like I felt bad for Kevin on my wedding day. Kevin gave me a wedding present. Unfortunately for him, I already had the book that he gave me, and I felt like a jerk because I was like, "This is great, but I have this one."
Whoops.
Right, but it was the thought that counted because it was a perfect book for Kevin to give me.
Oh, absolutely.
And this was 1984, but I already owned a copy.
But knowing somebody that if you can show that they matter to you in their life, that speaks volumes, I think.
Right. Not everything has to be of monetary value to be valuable.
Right.
And that's something that we've definitely lost sight of in this corporate age.
Oh yeah, capitalism will do that to you sometimes.
Right. This advertising overload that we're all privy to and all victims of.
Yeah, it gets everybody at some point.
But these are just the opinions of two guys with a microphone. You do you for Christmas. Maybe that piece of tech is exactly what that person wants, and that's your way of showing them that you care about them.
He knows them better than we do.
Exactly, but we just want you to put a little bit of thought into Christmas this year. And we'll do the Bob Barker. Remember to get your pet spayed and neutered.
Oh, Bob.
Speaking of Christmas, we've got our third episode of the Pagan Roots coming up on Christmas. Well, the Monday of Christmas week.
Gonna be a doozy.
Oh yeah, and we know that one's been some of the most popular episodes that we've had lately, and we
appreciate y'all for that.
Definitely. And we just want to give a shout out to Mike Ramsey Music.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't already, go check out his page. He's doing right now singles on vinyl, and they're doing old school lathe style where they grind it at time of recording.
Very nice.
Right. And they're relatively inexpensive.
At last.
I got one for Charlotte that we're going to hang on the wall here in the studio. Yeah. So go check out his Instagram page for the information on that. And check out our Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook groups.
All that fun stuff.
Just say hey. But as always, we want you to not take our word for anything. Form your own opinions. Do your own research. Trust, but verify.